Hello folks and welcome back to Rome Total War. I'm Step and this is going to be part 1 of my Barbarian invasion campaign where I'm playing as the Goths. And with this campaign I'm going to be doing something that I've never done before on this channel, which is that I'm going to be covering a patch that has come out recently for this game, and I'm very excited to talk about it later on into this video. But I first want to sort of introduce my channel concept to people who are new to my channel. And before I do that, I want to get into the main campaign itself, just because there's more to look at and, it's just kind of a better visual. So let me get into the campaign first, but I just want to give a fair warning, again, to those of you who are new to my channel. This is going to be more like a part 0, more like an intro to the campaign. If you want to see a Goths campaign, you might want to just wait until part 2 of this campaign, because that's when I'm going to be actually getting into it. In this video, I'm going to be talking a lot about the patch itself that I'm going to be playing, and then of course, introducing the campaign itself as well, and my channel concept. So I take my time, is what I'm trying to say, and I'm not trying to waste your time. So there you go. That's your warning. And for those of you who are sticking around, let's get on into it. So we're doing main campaign, and we will be playing very hard difficulty. One note about this, in fact, I should maybe make a video about this at some point, but I've seen folks who believe that this involves a +7 attack modifier for the AI, and it's my understanding that that is not true. I happen to have access to the game code, and I did some digging around, and it turns out that there's like a secondary role that's being applied, and there's kind of like an additional bonus that the AI is getting for that role, but they're not actually getting +7 to their attack. And quite frankly, I feel like that should have been obvious, because that's insane. That's unplayable, if that would have been true. But it's not true, because very hard difficulty is very playable. It just is. So there you go. It's not, it's a very playable difficulty. I'm not saying I don't lose battles. I do. I for sure do. Let's see here. Options for this. No battle time limit. I like to keep that unchecked, actually, just because if the AIs are supposed to be attacking me and I'm defending, every once in a while they will derp out and they won't attack, whether it's like a river battle or, maybe it's a hill advantage or something. And I'm not going to attack. If I'm the defender and I have a good defensive position, I don't want to have to be forced to attack. That's lame, and even though it's rare, it happens enough so that I don't want it to happen. So there you go. And the battles are long enough, I feel like. If I have to fight them again for like a long siege battle, that's fine. It's okay. So we will be playing as the Saxons, or the Goths, that is. So 363 AD. Estimated difficulty is estimated easy. And the Goths were an ancient Germanic people from the Baltic coast region who migrated towards Dacia in the 3rd century AD. But before that, they were reputed to have crossed the Baltic from their original homeland. They settled around the Vistula River, and at some point, the tribes divided into the Ostrogoths and the Visigoths, or Western Goths. The Western Goths were the first barbarians to carry out a major incursion into Roman territory. And, while the other barbarians were even more brutal in their war-making, the Goths struck fear into the enemies. Their practice of sacrificing captives to their war god, Tiz, was particularly horrifying. This practice has been abandoned now that the Goths have adopted the Arian version of Christianity. They are, however, still dangerous warriors and well able to exploit any weaknesses in Roman land or among their more barbarous neighbors. Historically, the Goths were driven across the Danube and into Roman territory by pressure from the steppes. While the Goths tried to behave peaceably, the Romans treated them abominably. At the Battle of Adrianople in 378, the Goths destroyed an imperial army and killed the emperor. So our goals are going to be to hold 16 settlements, and that includes Thrace, and Thrace, and northern Italy. That's it. Okay. Just those 2 settlements are required, and then that's where we're starting. Got it. And good mix of cavalry and infantry forces, limited siege equipment. Here we go. So yeah, there's going to be, there's no intro for this, but that's okay. A storm from the east, so from out of the steppes comes a new menace to the world. The Huns are the finest cavalry warriors the world has yet seen, and their rivals, or should that be victims, would do well to look to their defenses. This is a time to strengthen borders, fortify cities, and reinforce armies, because, by the heavens, a storm is coming. A powerful faith, paganism. Faith has the power to move men's hearts. This religion has become the dominant faith followed by a majority of people in the known world. And then a people in flight, vandals. These people are fleeing for their lives. Their homeland is lost, and they must now look for new lands to call their own. All the people, from the youngest babe to the oldest wise woman, are on the move. There we go. So, let's see. First off, I think I should talk about my channel, and then talking about the patch and why I'm playing a patch can kind of get woven into that story. So, here we go. First off, for those of you who are not new to my channel, for those of you who have been around for a little while, thank you all for being here. I would be nothing without you, and having you all around to support me and this channel and to give me tips and advice for really everything. I'm playing the game, but also just kind of like, you know, giving advice for the channel itself. It really does mean the world to me, and the kindness that some of you all have shown me is just, it's hard to put into words. So thank you all for being here and being back. For those of you who are new, welcome. This is going to be fun because it's always fun to start a new campaign and get new faces in and get new ideas. So the idea for this channel is that I'm chronicling my journey through the Total War franchise. I started this channel in the year 2020 to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Shogun 1 Total War. And then I did basically a long 2-year deep dive into Shogun 1 without playing anything else before it was time to move on and start celebrating the 20th anniversary of Medieval 1. And that's kind of the flow of the channel. It's that I follow the 20th anniversary of whatever game or expansion pack is coming out, and I kind of transitioned my focus to that game, but then I continue to play the, you know, quote-unquote older games sort of off to the side, just because I do have the unrealistic goal of playing all factions in every single game at some point, but yeah, let me live with that dream. I know it's pretty crazy. So yes, it's chronicling my journey through the Total War franchise, which means that this game is the newest Total War game that I've ever played. Yes, Rome Total War, Rome 1. So I wanted to do it this way because I didn't want to start with a newer game and then kind of go back and be like, oh man, this is kind of rough. Like, these are older games, are kind of tough to get into. For me, this is new. Going to Rome from Medieval 1 is new, and it, you know, in a lot of ways, feels good to kind of advance with the series in that way so that I can kind of appreciate all of the advancements that are made throughout the franchise. Now, of course, it is not always up and up and up. The way that these things go, and I know that you are all well aware of this as well, is that things don't just improve without other things being kind of dropped or lost in the process. But that's part of the journey, right? Makes some of you more upset than others, but for me, you know, I get to experience it like this for the first time, so it's kind of a special thing for me to really, yeah, appreciate the advancements of every single game in the franchise in this way. Which brings me to this patch. I've always played vanilla on this channel because that's how I experience the core raw game itself, so that I can sort of really learn the game in the way that people had to learn it and how people had to appreciate it themselves before these patches existed, or mods, or what have you. I'm sure people had access to mods for a long time, but not everyone used them. And in particular, the troubles that I was having with this game, I kind of just kept telling myself, it's okay. People still play this game. People love this game. This is one of the most beloved games in the Total War franchise. So I kept telling myself, like, look, I, you know, played 2 years of Medieval 1. I played 2 years of Shogun 1. I can figure out the things that frustrate me with this game. I can figure them out. And I can learn to live with them, just as most of y'all have. throughout your time playing this game. And when it comes to commanding armies in this game, well, this game has a active multiplayer community. Still, to this day, it's somewhat active, I think. I'm not a part of it, but I think that people still play multiplayer. I know there's a channel that covers it, Spartan Commander, if you want to check it out. He does cover multiplayer stuff on his channel. So I would tell myself that, you know, whatever issues that I'm having with commanding my armies should not be that big of a deal because other people are playing competitive multiplayer in this game. So I should be able to figure it out. Well, and then this patch came out. And this patch is the love child of a couple of folks. The one I've just met recently, but the other one is someone who does have a small YouTube channel himself. He mainly just covers kind of the Rome Total War mechanics and Total War mechanics. He's not very active on his YouTube channel. He goes by Dolphy, but on Discord he goes by Aster, and then he has partnered up with someone who goes by Pannonia, or is it Pannonia? It's the last syllable is an A and an E combined, and I don't know what sound that makes, so I'm going to go with Pannonia for now, but correct me if I'm wrong. And it's Pannonia who really helped me out with my install. I am just a real... Man, I got that old boomer brain when it comes to really anything computers. So, Pannonia, if you're watching this, thank you so much for your help and your patience, because that was a journey. And it's not even that hard for those of you who are, you know, thinking about getting this patch. It's just zipping, you know, the files into your game files. It's really simple, and I found a way to really mess it up, so... but anyway, there is a Discord that's available to help you guys out with this patch. If you're interested in it, I can link that in my comment section. I suggest you check it out, and I'm not going to really be going too much in... I didn't pull the patch notes out. That wasn't really the point of this video, was to go through the patch notes one by one. But just to kind of show things and talk about things. Mostly... It's supposed to be vanilla, mostly, like, almost completely vanilla. I don't even know what the difference really is between a patch and a mod. I don't know. I don't know. Is a patch just smaller, maybe? Smaller changes, I suppose? Well, for this one, it has, I think, mostly performance, and the camera is way better. And for me, the thing that I really needed, the thing that got me here is because I was having the damnedest time trying to get my soldiers to run in battle. For those of you who are familiar with Total War games, you would know that double right clicking is typically how you get units to run. There is also a run toggle. If you have run assigned to a keyboard key, you can just toggle that on and off to get units to run. And for the... So I have 550 hours, maybe a little bit more, in Rome Total War so far. So, like, you know, I know I'm not, you know, I don't have what you have, but, like, 550 ain't nothing either, so... And I was having the damnedest time. It felt like I was going insane, because I hadn't heard anyone else talk about having the same difficulties with this game that I was having, getting my guys to run. And finally, Dolphy posted a few videos of this thing, kind of this project he was working on, and kind of talking about, he titled one of his videos, "You're Not Schizo," or something like that. And I feel like that was aimed directly at me. It might have been, I don't know. It felt like it was aimed directly at me. And that was a breath of fresh air, because, like I said, I mean, I've never seen another Total War YouTuber talk about having issues with Rome Total War. And I think that possibly it's just because people play an older title and they think the rough edges are just because it's an older game. But that's not the case for me. Remember, I'm coming to this game from Medieval 1 and Shogun 1. So surely, you know, any rough edges that I'm experiencing in this game should have been, you know, present in those other two games, correct? Well, no, not at all. In fact, when I go play a battle in those two games, even though the physics of the unit models themselves is, you know, slower and more sluggish, the commands and the inputs really do register, and you feel like you have control over your armies, which feels great. And in this game, it was very frustrating because I could double click, and it was very difficult sometimes to tell if my men were running or not. Sometimes it seemed like they were, or maybe they weren't. Or I could do the toggle command, and still I would be having issues. So then I find out through Dolphy's video where he talks about that there's an input delay. For some godforsaken reason, there's an input delay in this game. As in, so my understanding of what that means is that, so like if you select a unit, then there's a period of time, is it like 250 milliseconds, something like that, before you can give a command, like a run toggle. And if you hit that toggle within that delay, it's not going to register the command, which is infuriating, as you can imagine. It's infuriating. And I don't know how people have played this game for so long without going crazy, because I felt like I was going crazy. And I try to make I don't think of myself as trying to be a super high micro type of player. I like to show my battles in a way so that someone else can just pick up this game for the first time and then order their units correctly and use unit groups to simplify the command structure and the command flow, and so that they can play this game maybe by learning from my video and my channels. Sure, you can get really good and really fast, and yeah, like you'll be fine that way too. But like if you're not there, I still want to show a style of command that is, I don't want to say dumbed down, because it does involve unit grouping, but I think that unit grouping is your way of playing these games. But then I find out that the unit hard groups in this game are part of the reasons that would mess up the orders being dropped. Like, if I had units that were hard grouped and I commanded them to run after someone and attack someone, one of the units would just like run after a completely different target. Just completely, and as I didn't understand why, and then the other unit might drop the command entirely and just not go anywhere. So it's just really frustrating. It was just so, oh my god, it was just, oh. For those of you who have watched my Julia campaign and my Sasana campaign and my Egypt campaign, bless your hearts. Seriously, it's been rough. It's been really rough dealing with that. And so I could not help myself from trying this patch. And I was going to record this last night. As I mentioned, I had some install issues, which was probably user error, honestly. It's mostly it. Luckily, I had a patient guide helping me through. So, as I mentioned before, that Discord link will be available for you guys to kind of get into it. And if you're interested, it's there, and it's live, it's launching. So, this is exciting. So, I think I mentioned before, mostly camera stuff and performance. So, like, high frames per second, really fluid. Like, the camera's like butter. Even in a strategy map as well, it's very fluid. I don't know if you can tell. I will be honest, there has been something that mentioned quite often that I don't notice, and I don't mean to break anyone's heart here. I'm told that the text font is a lot sharper, and I was also told that if you don't notice it, then you're blind. And so I must be blind. So yeah, I don't notice that. In the UI, I'm told that it looks different, but I don't see it. I don't see that. As you can tell, I'm not much of a hype man. I'm a terrible salesman. But if you can see it, that's great. So that's there. And I'm running this on the highest settings for everything. And oh my god, I almost forgot the most exciting part, guys. So in battles, this showcase works way better if I'm just in a battle. But in battles, there is a menu where you can just toggle on so that you can have your units like run and attack on just one click rather than double clicking, which is super dope. You can also have it so you guys, when you do the click and drag, they just run automatically. I don't do that because I do want my people to walk so that they can save stamina. But that is an option for you if you want it. And yeah, I think there's like another option in there as well. But yeah, this is wonderful. I just played a little custom battle before booting this up and starting recording this. And it was like the most fun I've ever had playing Rome Total War. It's just a casual, silly little custom battle. And I was playing with 9 cav units just to kind of really test my commands and see how it felt. And it was smooth. It was so smooth. So there you go. This is super exciting. It is off of what my channel structure is. I'm supposed to be going vanilla. I'm supposed to be living the experience that Rome Total War players lived so that I can, when I get to the next game, I can kind of appreciate the advancements rather than, getting to the next game and going like, oh man, why is it like this? Now, luckily, these two folks who have worked on the patch for this they've also made the same patch for Medieval 2, or a very similar patch for Medieval 2. So yes, there is that, but yeah, when I get to Empire, things might get a little bit rough. We'll see. All right, so is that it for that? Did I just do all that in 20 minutes? That's not bad for me. I think we might actually get a turn or two in. Luckily, playing as a horde faction, I think that early turns do go by somewhat quickly. Now, when I say that I'm chronicling my journey through these games, I still do like to get some practice into these campaigns before I jump on into it. I don't like going in blind. This is a 20-plus-year-old game. We're past the point of, what's it called when you show things off for the first time? Showcases, something like that. There's a word for it. But we're past that point. I don't think that that's what anyone wants to watch, really, is someone just kind of fumble around, like not knowing like how things work. So I do get a little bit of practice into these campaigns before I start to play them, just so that I kind of know my way around, and so that you guys are rolling your eyes at me a little bit less, just a little bit. So this is my first time playing as a horde faction, and despite that thing that I just said about getting some practice in, I haven't had a lot of practice with this campaign. Turns out running 4 campaigns at once really does bite or eat into your time. So I don't have a lot of practice with this campaign. Playing a horde faction though, that's pretty exciting. So we have a really shitty town, and shitty, it's a minor city, okay, there we go. But, and also, dare I say, pretty defensible as well, right? We're in this mountain range. There's 4 access points into the mountain range, which isn't totally, I mean, you could put up a bunch of forts and kind of block yourself in, but as I can show, is this my spy? It sure is. We can go... So I got a spy, I have an assassin, I got a diplomat, and then I have a small army here led by my faction heir with an archer unit and a spear unit, and then I have my faction leader with a peasant, a spearman, and a Goth lancer. Okay. I'm tempted to disband the peasant unit immediately. So here's the deal. I don't want to horde up immediately. That might be the better option. You folks can let me know how you like to play this, for sure. But here's the plan here. The plan is the hordes that we end up getting is determined by how big our population is. And you can only horde when you only have 1 settlement. So right now I have a population of 11.5 thousand, and I can grow it by lowering taxes, and it's going to go from a 2% population growth to a 2.5 population growth. Oh yeah, also just another thing to talk about with my channel. I do like to explain the game, actually. I do. I think that the mechanics are worth talking about. There's always going to be people who haven't played this yet. And I know there's channels that like to play fast and don't like to talk about things and talk about their decision-making processes and all of that. Go find them. They're out there. Like if that's what you're into. Again, I'm not trying to waste your time here, but this is what I do. I try to take my viewers and listeners along with me. Okay. So we can grow this population, and the idea is that the higher my population, then the more men that I get to join my hordes. Now the hordes are pretty cool. I think my horde units for the Goths is just going to be a swordsman unit, like a foot infantry swordsman unit, and then a horse archer unit. I think those are my only 2 horde units, and they are going to be upkeep free as long as I remain in a horde. But then any unit that I have that I trained beforehand, like this Goth Lancer, this Gothic Spearman, these peasants, I'm not going to keep them, but they're there, and then these guys as well, they would remain. I don't know if I pay them upkeep, or if I just have to wait until I settle first before they start charging upkeep. I'm not sure about that. I don't think I do, but I could be wrong. But the idea is that eventually when we do settle down, all of my horde units are going to settle into those newly settled territories and become the people, the population of those places. So as soldiers, and, horse archers and swordsmen, they go away. And the only units that I'm left with are the people that I have, the people that are not the non-horde soldier units that I have, that I train up before I horde, right? So I do want to grow my population, but I also do want to recruit as many soldiers as I can before I horde up. And I think, so I have done this, and so I have been able to grow my population of Colonia Dacia, while also training up, unit per turn. And here's my fancy little idea here. You see Campus Lazygus right here? What I like to do is hop on over here. There's no wall, I don't think. You'd be able to see a wall. And you basically just walk right on in. You kill those 3 units that are in there. And I can probably... Can I do it with these guys? Might have to bring him in and then reinforce with those guys. And then what I like to do is enslave Campus Lazygus. That brings a portion of this population to Colonial Dacia as long as he remains in. Remember, for those of you who are new to this game, enslaving only brings that extra population to the settlements that have a governor in, a character which is overseeing things. So he would have to remain here, Manric, and then, his son's going to be the one doing all the dirty work. And so that's going to give us a boost of population here, which is going to, go hand in hand with the 2.5 population growth. And we can even maybe get another building. Do we have something that can increase pop growth? A tavern, probably. It gives happiness. Does that boost population growth? No, it does not. It just gives... kind of thought... Okay, happiness doesn't boost it, but health does. Okay. Does it? What about a church does, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Damn straight. 0.5% population growth. Why is it not... Not sure why that's not showing. Population growth 0.5. Oh, it's not. Okay, I already got a 0.5. Okay, so it's not increased at all from the Christian Chapel. Got it. I understand. I understand. Let's see. Hall of Heroes is... I don't think I want this. Can recruit the Gothic Spearmen. It's going to take 4 turns. I'll think about it. Maybe not. Maybe I don't build anything. Maybe I just stack my money. And I can already recruit Gothic Raiders, Spearmen, Runaway Slave Spearmen, Goth Lancers, and my agents. And so the difference between the Runaway Slave Spearmen and the Gothic Spearmen, I think these guys are bigger unit count. So 120 for this, and then 80 for this. Oh yeah, this is a good chance for me to talk about my choice of unit size, which I understand is somewhat controversial. I do like the default unit size. I think it, for one thing, it makes it bearable to play in siege battles. But really, the main reason why I choose default unit sizes is because, for those of you who don't know, the units are actually pulled from the population, okay? I think most people know that, but if you're new, there you go. So That depends on the actual size of the unit. If it's a 120-man unit that's pulled, it's an 80-man unit, then it's the 80 men it's pulled. What this does then, and this is less of a concern for me, the human player with my big old brain, but it's more of a concern for the AI, which is that, so here's the thing, our population numbers is attached to our ability to grow our settlements and actually get cool shit. Nice economy buildings, nice troop producing tech, and all the other fun stuff that's directly linked to the advancement of our settlements is by increasing the population. Now, some factions do have these base units. This is the cheapest unit that's available to the Goths, I think, other than the peasants who are also a 120-man unit. And so what the AI might do is they might train a lot of these big unit sizes, therefore draining their population, and therefore they could end up really struggling to grow their settlements. And I don't have enough experience in this game playing with different population sizes to know if my theory is correct. This is just me kind of guessing here. So if you have more experience playing on a larger unit scale, or preferably if you've, sampled a little bit of both, I would like to hear your thoughts on this, because it's my theory that by playing on the larger unit scales, it really just drains those factions that have those larger units as like a low tier unit, and then they really struggle fielding armies and growing their settlements. That's my theory. Now, with my current campaigns where I'm playing as, I just finished my Julia campaign, but then I have an ongoing Egypt campaign as well. Here I thought going into it, I was like, yeah, if it's a little bit grindier, it'll be fine. And those campaigns went on going on for 15 months for my Julia campaign and 16 months for my Egypt campaign. It's been a hell of a grind because the AI is throwing so many freaking soldiers at me. It is ridiculous. So I that might be proving my point right. That might be proving my point a little too right. So maybe you can talk me out of this. It's possible if you go, no, it's just better if you let the AI drain their stuff. And I don't know. I like fighting good armies. I don't like fighting crap stacks. It's just boring. And to that effect, in the campaigns I just mentioned, the AI had some dope armies. They did. I'm fighting good shit. So that's good. It's just a lot. It's just a lot of it. And a lot of that could have been mitigated by me just having a more efficient start with, my economy and just being more aggressive. I learned my lessons. There's a lot of lessons that I learned in those campaigns. So for now, I'm going to continue to use that unit scale and just try to be a bit, better, faster, and just get better at it. But if you have opinions, I do want to hear your opinions on that. I think it's an interesting discussion to have. Know that folks will say that the larger units just look better on the battlefield. Here's my thing, though. And again, I haven't played much, of the large unit scales since Shogun 1. But going back to Shogun 1, what I experienced on those unit scales, that game doesn't even have a population mechanic. It's just that the units cost more and the AI couldn't keep up with that because the economy didn't scale to match the unit sizes. So I was just fighting up against very small armies that had shitty units because they couldn't tech up to getting cool stuff. And that was the experience. It was kind of boring. And so to me, that mitigates whatever epicness I can feel from the unit sizes on the battlefield is lost when I'm seeing just crappy units and maybe not full stacks. On this unit scale, and again, tell me if you've experienced, likewise on your larger unit scales. But on this unit scale, you can get the 2v2 army clashes. They're pretty epic. And on this patch, with the improved frames per second, it might get pretty dope. So there's that. That's the conversation, and you can go run away with it. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section. back to talking about this campaign. Should I do something? Maybe I should do something. Scout and Assassin are probably just going to be on scout duty. I kind of want to keep an eye on the Vandals and the Huns. They're I think here. Maybe one of them's here and then one of them's here. Maybe the Vandals are here and the Huns are here. Maybe something like that. So I don't have a lot of time, and I need to keep an eye on them. Pretty much when they start attacking the Sarmatians, I think the Sarmatians just have this one settlement. When they start doing that, and this is another horde possible faction, that means that when this gets destroyed, that becomes another horde, and we get a cascading effect of hordes just coming west. That's, you know, the history of this time period. And I want to be out of dodge before that happens. So there's kind of a tricky little timing here, which is that I want to enslave Campus Lazy Guess. However, as I mentioned, you can only have one settlement if you're going to go horde. So right after I enslave Campus Lazy Guess, I am going to want to lose it. Now, a fun little thing about losing a settlement as the Goths is that that settlement, it turns into an emergent faction, which is the Ostrogoths. Which is so cool. Guess what? That's another horde faction, so they will have Campus Lazy Guess, and then whenever they get taken out by whoever's coming west, you know, Sarmatians, Huns, Vandals, whoever, then they turn into a horde faction. So, yeah, you really want to be out of dodge before all of that comes crashing down on you. And my pathing, my goal, and like I said, I've just played enough of this to kind of understand where I want to go. I like to do this historically, and since I have this dream of playing every faction eventually, that means that I'm going to have to come up with unique ways to play each faction. So I'm sure there's a meta journey for the horde factions to always take Constantinople, or maybe always take, it's not even just Byzantium, isn't it? It's not called Constantinople yet. Or always take Rome, maybe, or something. And yeah, that's good. Playing as the meta is a good way to, you know, win. But I also like to do different things and play campaigns in different ways. And as the Visigoths, well, the Goths, we're the Visigoths. That's who we are. You can tell because the Visigoths' favorite color was orange. So there you go. What they did, historically, was they eventually ended up in Iberia. And that's my goal. I want to go to Iberia as well. Now, for those of you who don't know, the map in Barbarian Invasion is a bit different than the map in the Imperial campaign for the original Rome Total War. Namely, just that it has less settlements in general, which is kind of weird. It definitely kind of has a weird balance to it. Now, I have to say, I love the Barbarian Invasion campaign. I think it's fan-freaking-tastic. And I probably like it way better than the Imperial campaign, which I think for some people is considered blasphemy, but there you go. I think it's just such a cool campaign. I just got lost in thought. So Iberia is kind of weird because in the original campaign, I think it has 5 settlements. And then in the Barbarian Invasion campaign, is it just 3? Or is it 4? It would be very weird. But I'm not sure. But it's my goal to settle 3 of them. If it's only the 3, there you go. But it's my goal to settle the three settlements in Iberia. And the reason why 3, because every time you settle a settlement as a horde faction, it takes away 1/3 of your horde's forces. Now, I think that just might be evened out between all of the units, maybe? I'm not sure actually how that works. So let me know if you know. But the idea is that I need to have eyes onto each settlement before I start my attacks. And what I might just want to do is to siege out every single settlement and then time it out so that they all capitulate on the same turn. Therefore, I don't have to worry about fighting a battle with, like, you know, 1/3 of my units gone or 2/3 of my units gone. Something like that. You get the idea. And then from there, expanding out and then conquering the territories that I need to conquer from Iberia. So I need 16 settlements. So whatever comes in between myself and then it's Rome and Thrace, is it? Yeah. Yeah, something like that is going to be the idea there. Now let's finally make my first move. Spy, you can come up here and go see what you can see. So our eyes are on, so this is just a... Who is that? That's a summation. Yeah, that's a summation. Got it. And assassin, probably just hang out as well. Now, I'm not going to be using my spy or assassin doing any sort of risky agent actions. I just need them for their eyes. That's it, really. And then with my diplomat, it's kind of a harder decision. And on one hand, I kind of want to scope out my path ahead of me. I do know that somewhere around here, somewhere, is maybe here, maybe? I know there's a settlement there, and then somewhere like up here, here maybe, or somewhere, is another Roman settlement. And I think they belong to the Eastern Roman Empire, I think. Or maybe that's Eastern and that's Western, possibly. And I would like to split off my horde and hit both of them on my journey, and then consolidate my forces, and then continue through northern Italy, just wrecking whatever comes in my way, and then southern Gaul, and then making my way into Iberia. And I can't remember how many settlements that's going to be, but that should be enough to gather up a lot of money and just put myself in a good position to settle down in Iberia. So the decision with my diplomat, do I want to go west and to start scouting my territory? Now his vision is pretty bad. He doesn't get to see much, not like the assassins and spies, whose vision is much better. I kind of want to go talk to people, though, out east and start to, oh, I don't know, let them know that I'm not a threat, that they don't have to fight me, maybe? It's kind of what I'm leaning towards. I can always move back west and do that job later, right? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so now let's see here. You do that, and then maintain the siege, and then can you guys get to there? Can you guys link up with him? I think you can. L to the yeah. And then I think I want to disband these peasants because, again, as much people are going to be in here, that increases the amount. That goes right, that population growth, that 2.5 applies to that number, right? So the only question is the public order of colonial Dacia, are they going to be okay without that peasant unit? We have 100 public order on low taxes, and the garrison is only accounting for 5% of that. So even if we did lose 5% from disbanding those peasants, we would still be at, 95%. So I think we're fine. So let's go ahead and disband these guys. Now we got 11.6 people in Dacia. And yeah, low taxes, 95% public order. We're looking good. So we can go ahead and recruit some Gothic spearmen. And, oh yeah, I was comparing them to the runaway slave spearmen. The runaway slave spearmen, so they have the bigger unit count. Let's see here. So attack of 7, Gothic spears have a charge bonus of 3 compared to a charge bonus of 2. Total defense 13, total defense 20. So they have 7 more defense, which is a lot more. They also have the Schiltrum. Man, you know those words that you just read for years and then you just try to say it for the first time when you're recording something and you go, oh yeah, I probably should have said that ever in my life before I started recording myself. Schiltrum. Oh boy. Oh my god, I've heard this word. Schiltron. Fucking A. Whatever. I'll get back to that. Mona's fighting cavalry. So he has a +8 to his attack when he fights against cavalry. And good morale. I don't know exactly how much that is. The fact that morale's not displayed here is insane, but we don't get to that until later, in a later Total War, I suppose. The runaway slave spearmen, they're just fast moving, which is important. Being fast moving is important. Now, you might look at this and say that he has no bonus versus Cav because it doesn't say so. However, he is holding a little dinky little spear there, and in the game files, there is such a thing as a light spear, which gives a +4 bonus versus Cav. It's not listed in-game for some godforsaken reason. That gives people the impression that these units, like the Town Watch in the base game, again, has that light spear. They have a +4 bonus versus cavalry, which is not nothing. You know? I think the same thing with the warband units for the barbarians. Same deal. So my assumption, now I would have to check. I don't know for sure. I have to check the game files. I don't remember everything that I look at in my life. But I would assume that he has a +4 bonus versus Cav. That'd be my assumption. And being that he's fast moving, kind of tells me that he would be a good unit to support a Cav fight. That's something that you could do historically, you know. Alexander did it, and a lot of people had runners that would run alongside cavalry and poke, you know, support those fights. So I can see that being useful. 150 upkeep compared to the 163. Not a big difference, actually. But yeah, only 13 more upkeep per turn for the Gothic Spearman. Recruiting cost 405 versus 270, so a lot cheaper to recruit. But it is that extra 40 men, which, as I mentioned before, good for combat, but bad for growing settlements and for, you know, getting big hordes. So we will not be training them for now. Maybe later. We'll see. We'll be getting the Gothic Spearmen for now. I probably want to get some Goth Raiders eventually as well. These guys have long-range missiles. That's dope. Yeah, that's very nice. Long-range missiles, good stamina, so they will fatigue slower than other units, that's important in fast-moving as well. Can swim, can hide in long grass, and can use flaming missiles. Flaming missiles, it's my understanding that lowers leadership, lowers morale, but it's just not that deadly. I've heard people say that it does hit harder, but it's just not accurate. I don't know if the hitting harder part is true, but it's definitely less accurate. And also it shoots slower. So if it does hit harder, please correct me and let me know where your sources are. I like to have like one unit kind of using the fire arrows and the rest of them using the regular arrows to do damage, and then one unit just kind of causing a morale break on the other enemy units. That's what I like to do. Goth Lancer, here we go. This is going to be kind of the light cav unit, but with a very high charge bonus of 10. So on the charge, they'll be hitting with a 15 attack. Pretty nice. Defensive 15, nothing crazy. Can form wedge. It's my understanding that wedge doesn't actually confer any actual combat bonuses, like number-wise. It just has a bonus in the sense that it splits the enemy unit in half, and then that causes a morale break, because part of the morale checks for units is it's what's the word? Not togetherness. There's a better word for that, but it's you know, the unit being cohesiveness. There you go. Sometimes I can say the word cohesiveness, and so when a unit loses cohesiveness, the idea is that it just kind of breaks. And so wedge for that reason is very, very important. And I have seen videos of old school multiplayer people who used to post on YouTube who demonstrated this by using kind of like these light cav units against the very heavy like cataphract units. And they will break them using the wedge. And they will win that combat, which is pretty dope. And by using my newfound command abilities in this patch, I might actually be able to show that off. We'll see. Anyway, fast moving, powerful charge, may charge without orders. Meh. We'll see about that. We'll see about that. And how old? So he's 53. He doesn't have long to live. 4-star general. Let's see here. Anything +2 to law. Okay, that lowers corruption, and that increases the money that we make, which is nice, but this is my capital. Probably don't have any corruption here. That would be illegal. Yep, no corruption. Trader, 10% bonus on trade income. And then, well, yeah, superb administrator, +3 to law. Christian, so yeah, there's Christianity, there's religions in Barbarian Invasion, so that is important, but we can talk about more about that later when we are gonna do, you know, settle down. And he's a night fighter, which is pretty dope. That allows him to fight at nighttime. I know, big whoop. And then +1 command when fighting at night, which is really, it is really dope. It's dope. I didn't mean to be sarcastic there. It's really dope. And being a night fighter means that you can attack an enemy army and they can't get reinforced by a nearby army. It means that you also can't be reinforced by a nearby army, but if you like your army better than their army, then that's how you use this, which is pretty nice. You have to be a 4-star general to get Night Fighter. And yeah, the fact that he's going to die soon is a shame because he might not actually get to use it. Yeah, it's too bad. Now he does have these retinue here, and if I'm on my shit, if I'm good at what I do, then I'm going to transfer these retinue over to his faction heir when we get a chance. Translator, +2 influence, sword bearer, +1 to personal security, so that improves the chances of detecting and foiling assassination attempts, and +1 to your general's hit points, which makes it harder for him to get killed in battle. Musician, +1 influence. Trusty steed, +1 command when commanding cavalry. Yep. But -1 command when commanding infantry. Okay, that's lame. So, you want to give this guy just an all-cav army? Huh? Okay. Huh. Okay, I'll think about that. Goldsmith. 10% bonus on all trade income and 10% decrease to cost to bribe. But you can't bribe faction leaders, so that one's fine. In fact, I don't think you can bribe faction heirs either. Right? Yeah. Probably right. And let me check out the dude. Oh yeah, before I check out the other dude, I can talk about this. So command stars. This is kind of controversial. A lot of folks think that command stars don't do anything. Now I did actually make a video about this. I went into the game code, and I put on my detective hat, and I figured it out because it does stuff. I don't remember exactly. You would have to watch the video. In fact, I should rewatch my own video just to remind myself of what it does. It does add attack and defense to units within a radius on the battlefield. And how big that radius is, it's a combination, there's an equation that has to do with the command rating and the influence rating for your general. So both of these things combined together, the influence and the command combined together to not only dictate the size of the command's radius, but then also the amount of the attack and defense bonus for the troops that are under that radius. That's a combined thing. It's not that the influence just does radius and command just does the stat boosts. They both have to do with both of them. Got that? They both have to do with the radius and the stat boost. You're just going to have to watch my video if you don't believe me. I know that people like to point out that that's not true. And because if you go into the battles and pull up your F1 screen, and you won't see any bonuses being conferred to your troops, you will see an attack stat that shows that it's not being conferred. I don't really have an answer to that other than the fact that that was also the case in Medieval 1 and Shogun 1, and I know for goddamn sure that the command stars did affect the soldiers in those armies. It's very noticeable in those games. But then the same thing happens if you pull up that F1 screen to check out your unit stats. It's not showing there. So I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. I don't know what's going on there. But I saw it in the game code, so it must be true, right? Alright, that's command stars. Influence does another thing other than influence. It does a couple things, actually. Influence also has to do with how big the character's bodyguard is, which is important because a bigger bodyguard... Bodyguard units for characters are pretty goddamn good. They're heavy cav. Can I show it, or do I have to look at his, I think? I don't know if you can show it when he's in a settlement. Let's check this guy's... So, Warlord. 36 men in his bodyguard unit. And yep, attack of 13, defense of 23. Excellent morale, good stamina, good shit. Very strong. 36 men. I think the basic bodyguard unit for like just kind of a basic dude, a regular family member, I think it's going to be 24, so 36 is quite good. And how big is it going to be for the faction? 48, yeah, so bigger, and yeah, way better. So influence will also increase that. It's not just that the factionary gets 48 and the faction leader gets 48 and the factionary gets 36. The other guys as well, if they have more influence, they will get, you know, an additional dude here or there. I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world. I've seen some people that really do think it is the biggest deal in the world. But yeah, it's still important. And then management just has to do with the amount of money that the settlement gets. It just gives it a nice little boost. So if you're looking at settlement details, income, for those of you, if this is, again, your first time seeing this game, ever played it in your life, this screen might be kind of scary, but this just shows us, so like, what are the factors of population growth? What are the factors that add to population growth, and what are the factors that decrease population growth? Public order, same thing. And you hover over the thing and it tells you what it is. Squalor, alright. Base farming level, okay. I don't need to get into all of it right now, but you get the idea. So income plus, check it out, admin, 102. So his 3 admin scrolls are getting us an additional 102 denarii per turn. Pretty damn good. And was I going to talk about the faction area? Yes, I was. Yes, I was. 3 command stars. Not as good as Dad, but not bad. 1 influence, meh. And but see, a lot of this guy's influence is tied to his retinue. So yeah, if I can give his retinue to his son, that will be good.
Yes.
He has a scout. +1 command when ambushing, and +2 to line of sight, which increases the range at which enemies are spotted. Sure, cool. We could train some mercs, but they're expensive, and we're not going to do that. We don't need them to win this battle. Factionary, +2 to personal security, +1 influence, +3 command, and 5% pagan conversion. Are they both pagan dudes? No, he's Christian and his son's pagan. Okay, that's a little confusing. You guys gotta sort that shit out. Yeah. Yeah, you guys have to have a little talk about that. What is going down? So, are we ready to get a battle in? Can we actually fit one into this episode? Oh my god.
General, destroy.
Oh my god. Let's do it. What do they have even? I've never actually when I say that I've played this, practiced this campaign, I auto-resolved every battle. So I've never actually fought a battle in this campaign. What do we have? Warlord. Shit. That's a little stronger than the normal rebel garrisons in the original base campaign. Runaway slave spearmen, no biggie, and then step horse archers. I'm glad that I brought my Goth raiders because they can outrange the step horse archers. And yeah, we got the spears to counter the warlord, and we got Vithamur, who can do some smashing. Let's go.
Today is a good day to die, but better still to live. The bards will sing songs of brave deeds done well, and we will be the heroes of those songs. Scream your battle cries, call to the gods, ask for their strength, and put true fear in the souls of your enemies.
And check out these unit models. Don't these look pretty clean? Yeah, they look pretty smooth to me. Yeah, I think that's different. I think that's definitely, I think that's the patch, right? Yeah, I think they look pretty sweet. And camera feels pretty good too. Now that I've talked up the camera and everything and talked about how, you know, the whole reason why I sucked before is because of, you know, the game controls sucking. Now that I said all that, I better, you know, actually be able to perform and back up my talk. Otherwise, this is gonna feel pretty dumb. I am thinking that this is the best, well, probably the only position I can attack from, actually, and fighting uphill. Yeah, who doesn't like fighting uphill? That's like the best thing ever, right? And yeah, I like how the barbarian factions have their own hill inside. Then no other factions, or no other cultures, that is, have that hill. So I don't know if I need to group these guys. Maybe I can group them. Leave my dudes on skirmish mode, that's fine. Put my dudes on guard mode, that's fine as well. Shiltron. Fuck, I need to... Fuck. Yeah, I need to... I'm gonna say that word a lot, aren't I? I have to figure that one out. I gotta figure that one out. Alright, those are the Lancers, yes they are. And Warlord is right here. Yes. Yeah, lot's been changed. I feel like the click to drag is a little it's slower, possibly. Something's a little bit different with the click drag, which is I did read it in the patch notes, and yeah, that's one thing I'm a little bit not sure about. I feel like it's not as responsive, and I feel like there's something going on there. But anyway, just gonna move up, and we're not in range, so that's a Warlord. And oh yeah, that's right. I don't have the restrict camera off. I never play with restrict camera on, off. I never play with the restricted camera off. There we go. But I've been kind of messing around with it a little bit when I was just kind of getting used to the patch, and I don't know, guys. I've so far gone my entire total career without doing this, but it feels so good to kind of fly around and I don't know, it feels pretty good. I think that it didn't matter so much in Medieval 1 and Shogun 1, but the thing that bothers me more so in this game is the siege battles, because a lot of times you're kind of fighting on multiple fronts, and it can be really difficult to manage things and kind of bounce between, you know, different fronts using the restricted camera, because you have to kind of reach out and you have to kind of click on the banner and get over to it, or you have to know exactly who it is on your unit cards, and you can find out exactly who you're trying to zoom over to. It's not the easiest thing to do. So I don't know if I... Okay, here's my question. With the restricted camera, does it... I'm sorry, with it turned off, does it reveal hidden units? Because I don't want that. I don't want to be able to fly around the map and then look into a forest and say, oh, haha, there they are. They're trying to hide from me. Like, that shit's lame, and I don't want that. So if that's how that is, then please let me know, and I'll stop playing with the restricted camera turned off, because I do think that's pretty lame. But if not, that's not how it is, then I'm gonna be very tempted to kind of keep doing this because it feels free. All right, they have the height advantage, but I have the long range bows. And this is why I wanted to keep my guys in front so that I could shoot at them without them being able to hit my spears. And yeah, oh yeah, this patch also has a kill counter. Look at it, there's a kill counter. Check it out. You see that? It's underneath Goth Raiders. Killed a couple horses. Looks like they're losing more men than they're... I want to put my guys on to loose formation. And does that... Did they not go on loose formation? Oh, that is... Okay, they're already in loose formation. Okay. Christ almighty. Okay, my guys are not winning that skirmish. And I can't tell... My guys says set formation to tight. So this is their loose formation? Okay, alright, that's a little weird. Well, let's move up here and then here, because yeah, my dudes are losing... I'm losing a lot of guys, so I need to start to advance onto these guys here, and... Can I pick them off? Can I get to them before they get reinforced by that warlord? And then, yeah, you guys just move up. Move up, and then you guys get back. You guys get back. There you go. Alright, so how many men left are in that? So they still have 17 men left in that horse archer unit. And we'll just let them shoot. Here, let's get my spears degrouped. And then you go there. And then archer can come up here. And we can start to pull them off of that plaza. Archers are now in position, and they are getting some shots off at these horse archers who are down to 12 men and dropping quickly. So, yeah, they took a chunk out of my archers for sure. The enemy warlord is trying to be a little sneaky here by getting around to me. So they're sending they have 25 men compared to my 36 in my warlord unit. So I like my chances, and I do have my lancers as well. Can we just get this attack here? Can we get this fight? I don't really want to give up my high ground. That's kind of the tricky thing with fighting on the slope of a hill here, is that you can get flank around, but then you're fighting uphill. So a little bit tricky. Can we get you guys to commit into this fight? Yeah, if you want to commit into that fight, that'd be great. 2 horse archers left, and yeah, just go. Go, boys. Go. Get them. Yeah, now they gave up their high ground, and now we get a downhill charge into them? Oh, this is perfect. Oh, this is perfect. Oh, there we go. Hell to the yeah. You can sound your horn and give a bit of a morale boost to the guys, and yeah, their guy is down to 20 men. And are we still shooting at this force archer? Golly, okay, can we shoot at something else, please? Shoot at the runaway slave spearmen and try to pull them off of that plaza. And down to 14 men left in that warlord unit. There he goes.
The enemy warlord is dead.
There he
slain by
goes.
your brave warriors.
Hell yeah. Now we can pull those slave spearmen off of the plaza. And again, for those of you who are new to this game, that's how you want to do it. When they're on the plaza, they are unbreakable, so you have to fight them to the last man. If you can pull them off of the plaza and then break them, then the battle just ends. So that's how you want to do that. So now they're off of the plaza, so if they break right now, in fact, if we get the flaming arrows, we might be able to break them. Because they're going to get into my spears right here. And archers... Oh, I didn't have them off of skirmish mode disabled. I was supposed to do that. And let's try to get a volley in here. And Cav can also go in and try to break them here. Now, this is a spear unit. They do have their +4. And there we go. We got the break with the fire arrows right before they got to the plaza. So, end the battle. There are folks that like to fight the siege battles to the very end, because they can gain more valor or experience for their troops. But I like to kind of just call it quits and the battle. But just so you know, that's what people say. It's, the meta is to do it that way. So we're going to be enslaving. Just to kind of show you, again, for those of you who are new, Occupy would just give us it, and we would gain 179 denarii from looting. Enslave would give us 1,097 people are going to be moving to Colonia Dacia, and then we'd still get that 179 denarii from looting. And then Exterminate would be 1,600 massacred, and we'd get 1,200 denarii from looting. So that's how that works. And Enslave and Exterminate do also, because we're reducing the population, we make it easier to maintain control of those settlements. Part of the things that make settlements harder to control when you conquer them is high population, and that leads to high squalor in settlements. So we will be enslaving, and now Colonia Dacia is up to 12,600 people. Not bad. And a population growth of 3%. Now, why did we gain plus 5% to that? Well, I'm glad you asked. If we look here, so if we look somewhere, there we go. So slavery. So in addition to getting that like 1,000 boost to the population, we also get this as a resource, like a slavery resource now, which is giving us an additional 0.5% to our pop growth. How many turns is it? Is it like 5 or 10 turns? I'm not quite sure actually. Yeah, I'm not actually sure about that. But that's good. That's a good thing. And I think, so what do we got here? About to new expands. So Vithamer, turncoat slave. So +1 command when fighting against rebels. Not bad. City expands. Colonia Dacia. Do we want to... I think we do want to build the Great Hall. Do we need this for some reason? So here's the way it works for normal non-horde people, is that you really want to build the administrative building for the next level of settlement as soon as possible. Because without this building, you will be facing a public order issues. I can't remember how it's displayed, but it is displayed as a negative somehow. I can't quite remember how that works. But that's why you would want to do that. You want to build these buildings because you will get a hit. And it officially is the thing that also brings you to the next level, right? Of settlement. So you can get the access to the new set of buildings. That's the real reason, is so you can get the new buildings by building the administrative building. However, as a horde faction who we intend to be leaving soon, would we rather hang on to that 3,200 denarii and not spend it on a building that we aren't going to be hanging around for? I actually I don't know. I can't decide actually, and I might let you tell me. Let's see, slave trader. This is also for Vithamer. 5% bonus on all trade income and 5% bonus to cash gained from looting. Okay, I mean, that can be good because we will be doing some looting for sure. And trade eventually, maybe. And yeah, I think Campus Lazy Guess probably we just demolish the warlord's hold. We cannot destroy the roads. We are not allowed to do that. And then probably just take these guys right back to Colonia Dacia and let Campus Lazy Guess go rebel, or do I want to hang out here for a minute? I can't quite... We can only train peasants and diplomats here. It's kind of tempting to train a diplomat, actually. I'll think about it. I'll think about what I want to do there, and I can make that decision in the next episode, but I'm going to be leaving it here for now. Before I sign off, I just wanted to say again how lucky I feel to be playing this patch right now, because this really has increased my excitement for playing this game, and it has already brought an amount of joy, and the freedom of commanding armies. It just feels so free and fluid, and it feels good. It still takes some getting used to. So for, those of you who have to kind of like deal with my growing pains here, hopefully it's not too rough. I'll get around to it eventually. And I would recommend for you folks to check out the patch. So I'll put it into the notes for this video. And I just want to say thank you again to Pannonia and Aster for the work that you two have done in this patch. And I think there are some other folks who may have helped out as well and contributed as well. So thank you to everyone who's worked on this, and especially Pannonia for really sticking with it and helping me install it, because I know that was kind of a rough process, at least for me, but maybe for you as well. Before I go, I just wanted to say that if you're enjoying this video and you would like to support the channel, then consider subscribing, liking, and sharing. It all helps immensely. So until next time, this has been Conestip playing Rome Total War Barbarian Invasion on the REX patch. Thank you very much, and goodbye.